Why, in your opinion, was England the first to expel? Why was it innovative? What were the reasons behind the expulsion? And why were Jews subsequently allowed to return to England?
Well, so why innovative? It's your first question. Let me answer that. And it's an interesting question because the answer points in two quite different directions. In one direction, it's a pure and uninteresting contingency that it was in England and not in France, say. And the reason is that you might say the developments in Europe generally had reached a point at which somewhere or other these new things, for example, the Blood Libel, were going to emerge, and it just so happens that it was in England. When I was, a long time ago, when I was at school and studying economics, I was very interested in the emergence of specifically Keynesian economics, the economic doctrines associated with Maynard Keynes, the great British economist, early to mid 20th century economist. And what I found was that around the same time that Keynes was writing his general theory, another economist called Kalecki in a completely different part of Europe was developing similar ideas, and they had no connection with each other. And the reason that it was so was because the state of economic thinking was such, and the state of the world economy and the national economies that comprise the world's economy was such that the pressure on the people who were engaged in these issues was driving them through to similar solutions. So you could say, I mean, lahavdil, but you could say that the kind of theological popular pressure in hostile thinking about the Jews was driving the, if you like, the avant-garde anti-Semites through to the formulation of the Blood Libel. And it could have happened anywhere. It just so happens that it happened in England first, very soon after it was in France and elsewhere. And a certain amount of, I think, rather pointless scholarship has concerned itself with how the Blood Libel was disseminated on the hypothesis that it had this one point of origin in Norwich. And then there are arguments about, well, so-and-so traveled to there and then there and could have met this one and that one. But actually, I think the more likely explanation is those were the times. So that's part one of the answer to the question why England. It was in England, but it could have been in one of any number of other places. The completely contrary answer, which nonetheless is also true, is that England was a very developed society and state, administratively speaking, in terms of national identity, in terms of the intimacy, cooperative intimacy relations between church and state. It's strong, even then, centralizing kind of centripetal energy meant that the thinking about Jews and the engaging with Jews, the need for money, came together in a way that in other states or semi-states, undeveloped states elsewhere in Europe would not have been possible. So it's a kind of odd combination of the entirely contingent, responsive to more general pressures, and the very specific advanced features of the English state.